You mess with my friends, you mess with me. Hello Starlight, we all know that one character who jumps in headfirst for fights. One of those is going to be my side character OC called Shade. Who is Shade, you ask? Shade is an outspoken and fierce-spirited being who comes from a species of shapeshifters. However, she ran away from being amongst her own kin as she was told that she doesn't fit in due to her beliefs and how she uses her shapeshifting powers. Other shapeshifters believe that it should only be used for mischief and just causing havoc, whereas she tries to lessen that. However, she has a tendency to drop into that. So let's get further into who she is. Shade's role in my story is that she is the best friend of one of the main and side characters, and when she's in her group, she feels that she can be herself being a goofball because she loves to get high scores in her local video game arcade. This is an arcade that I mentioned in my previous video, which is called the Twilight Arcade, which has a lot of good throwbacks where I'm actually hinting at things that existed, but I gave them different names so I can just, avoid copyright. This arcade is where she likes to visit the most, especially when she loves to challenge all who stand against her on the leaderboards. If she does beat the high score, be prepared to be intimidated by her sticker that she's made for herself. She's made a whole bunch of them that she likes to put on the side of the arcade machines. So how did her design process go in terms of the early concept art to what she is now? So I've always depicted her in having an oversized jumper or a shirt, and she's always worn a beanie hat. The other reason I wanted to keep the baggy shirts and oversized jumpers is because I wanted to reflect back on the 1990s clothing, so a lot of hip hop culture wore oversized clothing to show like a laid back approach and just to have like a chilled atmosphere and not conform to just suits and ties and all of that. So with her wearing this big boxy clothing, it's so that people don't look at her and perceive her as large or skinny or anything like that. She wants people to just talk to her normally and not have any notions as, oh, if you're not this size, I can't talk to you, or you're just seen as less than. Her hair is consistently short, or I guess you could say a bob cut, but she prefers to have her hair hidden, especially if it's messy, so I can understand that as well. And just to stand out a little bit more, she wanted to dye her hair green, which is incredibly unusual for the place that she's actually born from. Her colour scheme of clothing has gone from complementary colours of orange and blue to more of like a mauve, purpley pink colour, but I'm still trying to figure out what would look best, as she does look unique. She has one arm, and as a shapeshifter, it is a big problem because she's not actually able to shapeshift without the end result having a missing arm as well. So there was a time during one of her backstories where she was with a family of shrub creatures in the forest, who you've seen featured before, and they were being researched by one of the locals, and the locals actually noticed that there was one more shrub creature than usual, only to inevitably notice that it was Shade, and her family of shapeshifters both laughed and were mocking her and actually were quite embarrassed. So that's one of the main reasons she was shoved away at the time and kind of abandoned by her own kind. In regards to her personality, despite her having a tough exterior, she has a fear that if she isn't perceived as fiery, she will be seen as a boring person. Her personality is naturally very chilled and caring, as she doesn't want people who aren't as outspoken as her to feel inferior, especially because of the way she's been treated by other people. Her favourite hobbies in the story are drawing in sketchbooks, taking stray creatures in from the forest, having a hoard of things in her pockets such as trinkets and snacks. Her strengths in the story is that she's determined when faced with obstacles, has an intense curiosity about the latest trends and will try to keep on top of them, and that she's very open-minded. Her biggest flaw is not being in her own form because she undervalues it way too much, meaning that she will take on other forms from wild creatures to popular people in town just to feel good about herself. However, this comes at a cost of her actually getting lost in her playing other species, where her friends have had to actually frantically find ways of bringing her back to her natural form. So with her being a shapeshifter and fiery and all that, what is her motivation? So her motivation in the story is to actually have more of an equal and inclusive world. But just know, if you're holding back when facing her in video game tournaments, she will definitely beat you one-handed. So, what would you shapeshift into if you were to scare someone? Share your ideas in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, check out my previous minor character videos to learn more about them and what's going on, and also a little bit of the world building. However, I would love to do way more world building stories in the future, and I'll see you in the next one.